Right, my name is Lorna McMahon. I'm the Centre for Excellence Coordinator for Tameside College.
Hi, I'm Laura Skirmer and I'm the Intervention Lead at Tameside College.
And hi, I'm Tracy Dutton. I'm Head of the Department for Maths and the Project Lead for the Centre for Excellence. I'm just going to do the summary and the going forward on the last slide.
Our colleague Abigail Holden, who is the Hub Coordinator, unfortunately isn't with us today, but she has input into the presentation. Right, we'd like to talk you through our presentation on the action research that we've undertaken this year. As you can see, our action research was all about operating different intervention models for GCSE Maths Resit students within a mastery framework. We're now going to look at why we picked this question and what we thought was happening with students as they came into the college. Tameside College is located in the Greater Manchester area, and parts of Tameside are amongst the most deprived areas in the UK. We draw our students from schools where the number of students achieving that magical grade 4 in maths and English is well below the national average. Students often arrive with us with poor previous experiences from school and as a result have low expectations of themselves and us as teachers. Through education and training, the college's stated aim is to offer success for all through the provision of educational courses so that students can gain confidence in their abilities and thus improve their employment prospects. We have been working with a mastery approach to the delivery of maths for several years as we believe it is the best way to build confidence and to improve their problem-solving skills. As a college, we also knew that intervention had worked for us in the past. When we started to look at the research around this, we found several things that struck a chord with us. The fact that there is no one intervention model that works all the time for all the students, that by working hard, success can be attained in that your maths does improve over time, and that intervention is described as being students reaching their potential, exactly what Tameside wants to achieve.
In the initial 5 strands of action research, we did not follow up on 2 of the strands, one of which was looking at how a delivery medium impacted on engagement and progression. When we initially looked at this strand, we encountered issues surrounding digital poverty, and teachers conducting the research began to make tentative links between social deprivation and the learner's ability to operate laptops. Because of this, we decided to pause the research with some of the groups until we could review how we can build in basic computer use. Given the current situation, we will need to review what this trial told us to incorporate it into our future delivery model. We also began research at how maths mastery can be embedded into vocational areas in order to improve motivation. We began research on this with members of the maths team going into the sports department to develop a maths presence and build positive relationships with the learners. Unfortunately, although the initial indications of this strand were promising, we did not get a chance to follow this up as circumstances overtook us. However, we will seek to pursue this further next year.
These are the 3 strands that we chose to follow up on. The first one, additional fluency practice, was aimed primarily at students who had not yet achieved a grade 3. Students were referred to the intervention sessions by their main maths tutor, and the sessions followed a set pattern focusing on core maths skills. Each skill was broken down into smaller chunks to be fully understood before moving on to the next stage. The sessions followed a school model that the tutor had delivered previously in that they followed a preset scheme of work. In the event, owing to logistical and delivery issues, these sessions were accessed by a relatively low number of students. The motivation and mindset strand built upon the work done in the Maths Hub in the previous year. Students whom their teachers felt were struggling in the classroom were offered the opportunity to attend a Maths Hub where their needs could be met in a less formal way and where their learning could be more individualised. The Hub tutor was able to unpick their barriers to learning, not all of which were maths related, in order to offer support. A mix of hands-on and practical maths activities to support the curriculum could be offered in small group settings so as to assist learners and any knowledge gaps could be quickly identified in a positive and encouraging atmosphere away from the public gaze of the classroom. The third strand was aimed at those with a grade 3 already, and again built upon the work done in the previous year. Rather than take the school-based approach where the maths is built from the ground up, we chose to work backwards, building on the maths that the students already know, either from previous exam results or from diagnostics. We used the exam questions and deconstructed them into their various parts using concrete, pictorial, and abstract representations as appropriate, so that we could unpick any misconceptions, plug any knowledge gaps, all the time building on what the student knew rather than what they didn't.
As Lorna mentioned, we continued our work on the Maths Hub from last year. We conducted research on re-engaging learners with personalised schemes of work with an emphasis on the use of manipulatives to put the magic back into maths, whilst also improving the learners' mathematical ability and confidence levels. Learners were referred to the Hub by their original maths tutors, who recognised that the student was showing little or no engagement during their timetabled maths sessions. Once referred, a meeting took place between the students and the Maths Hub coordinator, outlining that the Hub was an opportunity for learners to re-engage with maths lessons. The students completed an attitudinal survey to help the Hub tutors identify how they could improve the learners' mathematical confidence. 50 students attended the Hub this year, and the majority of those referrals were construction learners.
We'll now look at the third strand, how targeted work on mathematical thinking, procedural and conceptual variation impacts upon learning. To identify our students for the third strand, we sent out a survey to all our grade 3 learners. We had 223 responses, and 120 of those expressed an interest in attending intervention, with 52 going on to attend sessions regularly. The survey asked about student confidence in achieving a grade 4, whether they thought GCSE maths was relevant to themselves and to employers, and also how useful they thought intervention would be. The majority of the students, irrespective of whether or not they wanted intervention, rated the relevance of GCSE maths for themselves and employers quite highly. The major difference was in how useful they felt intervention would be, with those opting for intervention, unsurprisingly, rating it higher than those who didn't. Sessions lasted for an hour and initially covered those topics that were the big mark concepts within GCSE, such as reasoning and proportional thinking. We had started undertaking observations in the sessions, watching how the students interacted with the resources, each other and the teacher. We did not feel that we had sufficient insight from the observations at this stage to comment upon them, but they are something we would seek to follow up in the future. The original idea was to redo the survey at the end of the sessions and to compare the answers, but as circumstances overtook us, we had to scale this back and we received only a small number of online responses. Again, we would seek to take this further next year.
Our findings from the first strand, which was looking at how additional fluency practice impacted on progression, showed us that although learner engagement was good and the students enjoyed the lesson structure, the significant amount of time that was spent on trying to gain and secure this deeper understanding did not consider students' prior learning. So although the students became better mathematical thinkers, a lot of time was spent going back through basic concepts. Unfortunately, due to the limited time that we have with these research students, this did not give us enough time to build and apply these skills to GCSE questions. For the future, we will seek to develop these sessions using both lessons learned in the Maths Hub and in the grade 3 intervention sessions, so that students can continue to enjoy these sessions, but the sessions themselves can be more focused on the needs of the student. Our research from the Maths Hub generated some great success stories. As you can see in these images that one of our students gave us permission to use, learners in the Hub engaged with hands-on manipulatives to break down exam questions to make them more manageable. Our mock exam results reflected the progress made within these sessions, with one learner going from a U to a grade 2 in a matter of months. We also received feedback from support workers, with one expressing how a student had completed more maths work in a single 1-hour session in the Hub than they did over several 2-hour sessions in a normal classroom environment. We hope to refine this process further in the next academic year.
We are very aware that time was cut short and we do not feel that we can reach any conclusions this year, but we do have some interim results to share for our third strand. Our first focus was on the November 2019 resit learners. Of the 63 students entered, all were offered intervention and 51 expressed an interest in attending. Of these, 32 either achieved a grade 4, there was 19 of them, or got within 10 marks, there was 13 of them. Of these 32, 20 of them had over 90% attendance to intervention sessions, and a further 7 attended over 75% of the available sessions. This was a good result for us and indicated that the intervention model was showing positive results. During the sessions, we could see that learners took to the step-by-step problem-solving approach and used manipulatives as tools to illustrate the problem, but the manipulatives themselves did not become the main focus. We would seek to look at the role of manipulatives again in the future to see where we can further improve their effectiveness. Our biggest revelation was in the attitude and confidence of the learners as they worked through the intervention sessions and as it spilled over into the main maths lessons. Although our post-survey was small, the thing that came out most was in the confidence of the students building up over the weeks. The phrase, "I can't do maths," turning to "I can't do it yet." A learner's quote sums it up quite nicely here.
For our final slide, we'd like to sum up by looking at our next steps and how we're going to go forward with the project. Obviously, things will look very different for all of us in education when we return to teaching in September. It is because of this current situation that we haven't been able to get as much data back from the students and teachers as we would have liked to have done at this point. This means we are unable to give any detailed interim findings or any firm conclusions. However, from what we have had back and for our observations and student feedback, we've determined that our main success was the increase that we saw and that the students reported in their maths confidence. Looking at this and examining the reasons behind this will now form a large part of our research going forward. With the current situation in mind, we will also need to revisit the mastery delivery model using technology. This is perhaps sooner than we thought. We know the challenges that we've had surrounding with digital poverty and will still remain, and this will mean that we may have to think very creatively around this. But this is something that we're all used to doing in FE. So what will our research look like going forward? Firstly, we know that intervention coupled with mastery works because it sends a powerful message to our students that we believe in them. We do not set their abilities from when they come in, and we do not limit their progress. We also know from our research and the CPD that we have undertaken how important the mindset and attitude play in a vital and equally important part of the maths intervention model. So much so that we are now refining this so that any research that we do does not exist in isolation. It must combine both the mastery and the motivation elements if we are to understand it further. So going forward, our challenge is now to refine our intervention research to pick up these two elements and use our network partners to assist us in exploring this intervention model further. Thank you.